Hi everyone, so sorry the video is a little blurry. I'm not sure why, but I'm just gonna have to kind of deal with it. So I am here to do a tag, and this is a tag by Seeking Stories, and it's called the Character Adaptation Tag. Now, before I go on, I'm going to say that these aren't my absolute favorite because I haven't seen every movie adaptation of books that I've read, but they are ones that I like. And the other ones, I don't necessarily hate the acting, but it's more or less acting with, the scripts they were given. Because outside of them being books or book to movie adaptations, it was just original story on its own, an original screenplay or whatever. I really wouldn't care, but because they are based upon books, I kind of judge it in that way, right? So, let's get on with the tag. So, question number 1 is, what are your 2 favorite book to movie adaptations? So, I am also going, because I think they mentioned TV shows in this one, so any adaptation. But because people don't talk about them too often, because not everyone likes them, because it is a different way of taking in a book, I also want to include one or two examples of audiobooks too, because in a way, that is a sort of acting. I mean, you are bringing the story and characters to life through voice. And because I've probably have read more audiobooks than I've seen adaptations, that's just going to naturally come up. So, what are your 2 favorite book to movie character adaptations? So 2 off the top of my head that I really enjoyed was, I believe her name is it pronounced Mara Wilson as Matilda. So I haven't seen the movie for a while, and it came out, years ago, sometime in the 90s. And I recently read the book, I want to say last year. And while they were both made in different times and everything, I think she still did an excellent job on portraying Matilda and her characteristics and her love of books, and she just really brought the character to life. I know things had to be changed because of the time the book was written versus the time the movie came out, and etc. But I think those kind of things can be done well. What are you doing? Come on, get out of the way. And you can change things up if you have good actors or good, uh, screenwriters and all that other kind of stuff. And I just think it was really done well. The other one is Shailene Woodley, I think is how you say her name. She played in Divergent, but that's not what I'm talking about. Because I have not read all of Divergent yet. What I'm talking about is, no, not kitties. I'm not talking about kitties. Okay, enough. Is her portrayal as Hazel Grace Lancaster in The Fault in Our Stars. You know what? I know they only said 2, but let's just throw. I'm sorry, I don't even know his name, but the guy that played Augustus too. I think together those 2 really brought the characters to life. That is one of my favorite adaptations. I need to see it again because it was, I think, quite true to the book. And it's easy to say if a book is short or whatever, or targeted to a certain audience, it should be easy to adapt. Usually it should be, but half the time I notice that adaptations are only the basic plot and the title, and then almost nothing of what the characters look like, what they were like personality-wise, etc. But they did a really good job in portraying Hazel and Augustus, and it almost seemed like, they really were those characters. They were very believable. An audiobook I want to mention, because it doesn't have a movie, but I thought that, and it's hard to say because I never read the physical book, right? But one that I really enjoyed was Beauty Queens, because it was done by Libba Bray, who is the author, and she did, I think, like, did she do all the voices? I can't remember, but she just really brought her characters to life, and I just loved how, diverse it was in the voice acting, different voices for different characters, and she just really brought out their personality. Another one that I liked, even though it's not 100% true to the character in the way it's described, but it's a little bit better than the original, is the new version, or the special edition version of The Hunger Games. I believe the narrator is named Tatiana Masley or Mosley. And she sounds much more like the age of the character, a little bit more than the other one. So the second one is, what are your least favorite, or what are your two least favorite book to movie character adaptations? So again, I kind of have to bring up first the original audiobook version of The Hunger Games. Now, the narrator herself, I don't think, is a terrible narrator, but she sounded much too old to be portraying a 16, 17-year-old girl in a poor dystopian society. I think that person would do better probably with maybe adult or middle grade fantasy, because those are often third person point of views, and I think she would do pretty good with that one. The other thing is, and I know people are going to get mad at me about this, is the movie portrayals in The Hunger Games. I don't think the acting was bad. I think that was good, but I think it had a lot to do with the script and everything, that Jennifer Lawrence didn't, after you read the book, she doesn't 100% feel like how Katniss is supposed to be, right? So she seems a little bit older, which in real life she was, and a little bit more teen angsty to be angsty. And again, that's really not totally the actress's fault. That's kind of the watering down of the movie. So I think it's more about how she was written versus how she's acted. Because this is a post-apocalyptic society. This is a dystopian society where people are extremely poor, where people hunt for food because they will literally starve to death if they do not. That they take risks getting caught doing this. That they just live in this twisted society. And, when you get to the movie, and it just does not feel like a post-apocalyptic world, like a person that lives there. Like, their clothes are a little too nice for being that poor. They look a little too well fed. Not saying that I want people to starve themselves for movies, but you get my point. It just, it didn't feel realistic. And then the whole thing about, only white girls being allowed to audition, that kind of crap. The other thing I would say is Anne Hathaway as Mia Thermopolis. In the Disney version, she's good, but again, it's just the way it's written. They are very different from book to movie, and I feel the book had more of a Mean Girls feel to it. So as the Disney feel good one, she does well, but I don't think it would fit for the actual book character. And the other one is what character was most improved upon. I would probably say Seneca Crane from Hunger Games, just because we see more of them, we see more of the outside world. So anyways, I'm going to tag Todd the Librarian, Paul reads and writes, reviews, and Bookishly Confused, and anyone else who wants to do this. Bye-bye, guys.